Most people see Trump as a billionaire because his name is everywhere, on towers, on TV, and on luxury branding. But in finance, looking rich and being rich are not the same thing. Real wealth is measured through assets, debt, cash flow, and documents, not headlines. The public belief is clear. Trump is rich because he is a master deal maker, a builder, a businessman who wins through instinct and grit. That belief is not random. It was built carefully, and it was repeated everywhere, on buildings, in magazines, on TV, and later in politics. Over time, the image became so loud that many people stopped separating the brand from the balance sheet. Here is the key point for a finance channel. Wealth is not only about looking rich. Wealth is about ownership, debt, cash flow, and timing. Branding can help wealth grow, but it can also hide weak spots. It can also change how outsiders price your assets, how lenders see your risk, and how partners treat your name. That is why this topic matters. Trump is a clean case study of how modern wealth can be part real assets, part media machine, and part perception that feeds back into money. Start with the origin story because it sets the foundation. Trump has often spoken in a self-made tone, but major reporting based on large sets of family records concluded that he received very large financial support from his father, Fred Trump, across many years. That reporting described gifts, loans, and inheritance flows, and put the total around $413 million in today's dollars. Reuters and the Associated Press covered the same New York Times investigation and also noted that Trump's attorney rejected the claims and called the reporting inaccurate, while denying wrongdoing. This is not about personal feelings. This is about how capital works. Early capital changes the entire game. It lowers the cost of failure. It opens doors. It buys time. It can turn a risky bet into a survivable bet. So from the start, the billionaire image is already sitting on an important structural reality: family money and family networks. Next comes the part most myths skip: the lost years. In 2019, Reuters reported on New York Times findings based on IRS tax transcript printouts, saying Trump's businesses lost more than $1 billion from 1985 to 1994, with especially large losses in 1990 and 1991. The reporting also said those losses were unusually large compared to other taxpayers in those years. In plain language, the story of non-stop winning does not match the story told by those loss numbers. Big losses do not automatically mean someone is broke forever. But they do mean the path was not a straight line. They also mean something else: leverage. Real estate often runs on debt. Debt can amplify gains in good years, and it can crush you in bad years. That is how property cycles work. So if you want to understand Trump's billionaire label, you have to accept that parts of it were built during a period where the underlying businesses were taking serious hits. Now notice what happens next. The image does not die. The brand keeps breathing. That is the turning point. In many business careers, big public failures destroy the story. Trump's story survived because the story itself became a product. This is where licensing matters. Owning a building is one thing. Renting your name to a building is another thing. Licensing can be lighter and less risky. You can collect fees without taking the same level of operational risk. That is not unique to Trump. Many brands do it. But it matters because it changes what the Trump empire really is. It is not only real estate. It is also brand monetization. Then reality TV poured fuel on that system. The Apprentice did not just entertain people, it reintroduced Trump as a symbol of business authority. That authority did not need to be verified in public because TV made it feel real. Multiple outlets summarized the New York Times reporting on Trump's tax records and said he made more than $427 million from The Apprentice and related licensing, sponsorship, and endorsement-style deals tied to that fame. Business Insider and Axios both reported those figures as part of the same tax record coverage. Now connect the dots. If the earlier years included major business losses and later the TV era brings in hundreds of millions, then the billionaire story becomes a mix of two different engines. One engine is property ownership and development. The other engine is fame-based cash flow, The public usually blends them together and calls it all business genius. Finance does not work like that. Those are different revenue types with different risks. Here is the next structural piece: valuation. Trump's net worth is not publicly known in a fully audited way. Most of it is private assets. Private assets are hard to price. With real estate, two people can look at the same building and produce two very different valuations depending on assumptions. Assumptions about rent, vacancy, cap rates, brand premium, future development upside, and the cost of debt. That is where branding quietly influences reality. A stronger brand can improve deal flow. It can raise perceived demand. It can help your negotiating position, but it can also tempt aggressive valuations because a story is being sold. Forbes has published long-running estimates of Trump's net worth and also explains that it is an estimate. In September 2025, Forbes published a detailed article titled "The Definitive Net Worth of Donald Trump," an estimated $7.3 billion as of September 2025. Forbes also shows a real-time net worth figure for Trump that moves with markets, and in late December 2025, it displayed about $6.5 billion. Those two numbers alone show how Billionaire can be a moving target. Not because the buildings teleport, but because markets shift, debt costs shift, and the most liquid parts of the fortune can rise or fall quickly. Now bring in the courtroom, because that is where valuation becomes more than debate. In February 2024, Judge Arthur Engoron issued a civil fraud judgment in New York tied to the state's case about financial statements and asset values. And in February 2024, the judgment was finalized at about $454 million, including interest, according to the Associated Press coverage of the finalized judgment. But the story did not end there. In August 2025, Reuters reported that a New York State appeals court overturned that significant civil fraud penalty of about $454 million. That sequence matters. One side sees the 2024 judgment as proof that the image and the numbers were stretched. The other side sees the 2025 reversal as proof that the state overreached. In either direction, the key theme stays the same. The fight is about how assets were presented, how they were valued, and how much the system should treat branding as part of value. Now move to the newest phase of the billionaire myth: public market wealth. In March 2024, Bloomberg reported that Trump's paper fortune rose sharply as Trump media went public through a merger. And Bloomberg said that put him on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index at about $6.5 billion at the time. This is modern finance in one sentence. Now expose the contradiction. Without insults and without hero worship, the public image sells pure business success. The underlying reality looks more like business plus brand plus media plus financing. The myth often treats the brand as decoration. The structure shows the brand is a core asset that can create opportunity and protect reputation during weak periods. The inheritance reporting cuts against the self-made narrative. The loss era reporting cuts against the non-stop winner narrative. The apprentice income reporting shows the brand became a major cash engine, not just a billboard. The civil case timeline shows the valuation fight moved from opinions into legal consequences, then into appellate reversal. The Trump media and crypto coverage shows how the fortune can shift based on markets and attention, not only on buildings and rent checks. Here is the unresolved tension that keeps the debate alive. There are two definitions of billionaire that people use, and they rarely admit it. One definition is conservative, what could be verified, sold, and netted after debt under stress. The other definition is public, what the market believes today, what the brand can monetize, and what headlines repeat. Trump's entire career lives in that gap. That is why the argument never ends. One side points to the image and the estimates. The other side points to the support, the losses, the disputes, and the way branding can pull value forward even when the fundamentals are messy. This is the billionaire myth in its purest form. Image and money reality do not always match, but both can still produce power. Like the video, subscribe for more finance debates, and drop your take in the comments.